Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, Dominaire's the guy who actually gives you the quest for the actual championship part.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Disconnected.
Tell you what I'm going to do though. I'm going to switch characters because I did this on this character just earlier today. Or will that even matter? It won't even matter because the weeklies only count if you do them solo.
Now understand it doesn't. But we need.
And I did the solo quest, but the solo plus is still available to me, which is what we're going to be doing since we're in a group.
No, that's no good. Fight time's almost here. That's the spirit.
Running the solo plus first.
Yes, pick up solo plus. Solo plus is basically group. I don't know why they didn't just say group. The weeklies that are there, though, only update if you do it solo. They're not important for anything other than picking up the little tokens that you can then spend with the vendors in the next room. The weeklies aren't important as far as the actual Bodar quest or the DVL.
I am so glad my nightmare weekend of work has ended.
Yay.
I only did 36 hours in the last 3 days.
Yes, but is this the last weekend you have to work, or do you have to work next weekend?
I have to work Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I'm done.
Yay.
All right, I went ahead and pulled out my Lana to do our healing for us.
Dark DJ connected.
Solo plus.
Hey.
Okay, ready?
Do we know which companion we're using?
I've got Lana out. 42. So unless anybody has a bigger companion.
Nope.
With the amount of damage we're going to put out, I could probably put her on TPS and we'd roll through it anyway, but just to be safe. Don't know why Lana doesn't like elevators.
You know, seriously, couldn't they come up with something more original than Mysterious Stranger?
Well, I suggested Crackerjack, but he didn't like it.
But did they have to use exactly the same title that they used in, you know?
All right. Or I'm pretty sure you've done this before, probably both solo and in a group. What about you, Rankin?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll kind of give a brief explanation of these first 5 fights. I figure we'll get through round 5 and then we'll decide if we want to go ahead and finish up through round 10. We can complete it easily if we decide to do so. Round 1's pretty simple. You got Arlea Zayson. She likes droids. She makes droids. Pretty much the thing to her is kill the 2 droid ads beside her and then gang up on her and kick her ass.
Dolan Reddy's connected.
It's pretty much that simple.
Darth DJ.
So whenever you're ready.
Oh, and unlike the ops, or the flashpoints,
Right.
the little med things in here, we can only use them once. Period.
One time use. Well, for each one, there's 4 of them around the room, but once you've used one, it will no longer come back to active again. We have a healer companion, so we should not need it.
But if we do,
yeah, feel free to use it.
that kind of surprised me.
Well, it's meant to be difficult, so.
You ready?
Yep.
Atomize the enemy.
Okay, I'll kill your droid. No worries. Now it's dead.
The survival is beyond all possibility. Atomize the enemy.
Go ahead and just hit continue. Turns out this is a really good way to pick up social points. Because you get 2 sets every single round, and if you go through all 10 rounds, that's like 20 sets of social points. All right.
The spiders. Ugh.
Yes. Darula Gra and his little Inikiad spider things. Now, he's got an interesting mechanic because every now and again he's going to put a yellow circle around somebody's feet. That yellow circle will stay at your feet and then it'll eventually turn red. When it does, it's kind of like an electrified field. It does damage to you. It does damage to pretty much everything in here except for Darula himself. So the trick, especially if you're doing this solo, it won't be a problem for us with a group. But if you're doing this solo, the trick is to try and drop that circle and then drag those spider things into it, because it'll help you kill them. So you can go back to fighting Darula quicker. For us, though, we'll kill the 2 spiders and then kick his butt again. If the circle drops on you, just kind of drag it away, let it drop someplace out of the way, and then come back to the boss.
My sweet pet! You will nourish my pet.
And yes, he will spawn more of those spiders periodically, too.
We are the threads of your demise.
She's such a skeptic. All right. Gungus Boga.
Heralds of Zeldrog.
Yeah. This one is just about as simple as the last one. Kill the Herald, kill Gungus. If he spawns more Heralds, kill them too. It's pretty much that simple.
Judgment. Yeah. Judgment. Yeah.
I forgot about this little thing. Just try and stay out of the red circles.
Judgment. Yeah. Through the serpent.
Every time I've even run that solo, that's never really been a huge problem. It looks a lot worse than it actually is. As you can tell, in a group, it seems like doing these little conversation things in between takes longer than the actual fighting.
I hate. Although it's probably easier to. Yeah.
I love that part. Okay, this is the first one that has actually interesting mechanics. You got Chompers and you got Conrad there. What we're going to do is we're going to start off beating on... actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fight Conrad. Both of you take on Chompers. Now, once you get Chompers down a good ways in health, I can't remember exactly where it is, around 50 or 30 or somewhere around down there, Chompers will go into a regeneration mode. Until he does go into that regeneration mode, we're not actually going to do a lot of damage to Conrad. I'm just going to go ahead and attack him to build up aggro on him. Once Chompers goes into a regeneration mode, then everybody jump on Conrad and do as much damage as you can. We might finish him off before Chompers gets done, and if he does, then we win. If not, then when Chompers gets back up, just beat on Chompers again until he goes back into regeneration, and then we can finish the fight.
And what do we do about the babies?
If the babies pop up, just kill them too, but I don't think we'll see too many of them because we'll burn this down pretty quick.
Okay.
Solo, I only saw 2 groups of babies, so, you know, if we see one group, I'll be surprised. And here we go.
You're in over your head. Get killing, you ugly beast. Get killing, you ugly beast. Like
See?
It took me quite a while to figure out what I had to do on this one.
Yeah, nice. Okay, Supreme Vindicator Lanos, round 5, the first of the tough bosses. Although we shouldn't have too much trouble with this group of 3 people. I'm actually trying to remember all the details of this fight. It was only like 3 hours ago I did it. Crap, I'm drawing a blank right now for some reason.
We beat him up, and his ads, we beat them up, and then we go back to beating him up.
The shield ads. This is the part that gets kind of tricky. There's actually 3 kind of phases in this fight. We beat on Lanos for a second. We really won't get much chance to beat on him before he goes into the next phase. He'll put up a bubble on himself and he gets invulnerable. He'll have 2 Knights of Zakul that'll pop up just right behind him in front of that door there, who are also shielded. But you can interrupt that shield. So pretty much, we'll jump on the 2 of them, toss out an interrupt, which will get them to drop the shield. You kill the 2 ads. Once those 2 ads are done, then Lanos' shield drops and we can go back to beating on him. If Lanos lives long enough for it to matter, we'll get us a group of Stormtrooper, Skytrooper ads will pop up, usually a group of 3. And they kick out some pretty decent DPS, so we'll want to jump on those and get them killed off. After that, again, if Lanos is still alive, and I'm not entirely sure he will be, there'll be another group of Skytroopers that'll come in, but these are tougher ones that come in. Like there's 3 of them, but they come in one at a time in 3 parts of the room. They'll jump to one of us and put down a red circle because they're getting ready to explode. Just get out of the red circle, you'll be fine. And that's pretty much it. After that, it's kind of back to Lanos and the Knight ads, etc., etc. I don't think we'll actually get that far into the fight before we've killed off Lanos, but that's the way it works. Ready?
Yep.
There's a shield. There's a Skytrooper ads. New group of ads. Okay, there we go. And there you go. You got all those achievements.
Cool.
You guys want to go ahead and continue through 10 or call it night?
I'm good for 10.
Okay, let's do it then.
Only
Yep.
this is as far as I've gotten, so.
That's right. Like I said, I just did all these again just a little while ago, so I can get you through them all. The nice thing about a group is it doesn't make the fights any harder. You just have more people to kick out DPS and do things, so completing this in a group is crazy simple.
I couldn't figure out how to get past these guys.
Yeah, this is really tricky if you're not a tank. If you're a tank, then you can use your taunt to help separate these guys, and it gets a lot easier. But solo without being a tank, it's a tricky one. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so we've got the Breaktown Brawler and his 2 pets, Mr. Ripper and King Crush. Pretty much, there's 2 things to remember about these guys. Number 1, you'll notice there's a purple circle around each one of them. In order to do damage to that particular guy, you've got to be inside that circle. If you do anything ranged from outside that circle, it reflects. So gunslingers, if you weren't aware of that beforehand, you can kill yourself really quickly that way. So you just have to get up right up in their face, and then you can put out all the damage you want to. The second thing was want to keep the two pets, Mr. Ripper and King Crush, we want to keep them separated. If they're together, if they're nearby each other, then their damage increases, and that's particularly true if they're both beating on you at the same time. So what we're going to do, since there happens to be three of us, we're just going to split up and each take one of the guys, aggro our particular guy, and then just get them separated. Now, the Breakdown Brawler may still move around and jump to other people. You know, for instance, if let's say I'm on the Breakdown Brawler, he may jump off to Aura. You know, I'll just go track him down, get his aggro back, and try to drag him away. He's less of an issue. It's really those two ads. And if you keep them separated and you stay inside the purple circle of the one you're fighting, they're not too tough to beat at all. And once you start killing them off, then the fight gets crazy simple after that. The only other thing to remember is the Breakdown Brawler himself, whoever's fighting him, whoever has aggro on him, the Brawler will add stacks to you. And those stacks can keep going up pretty much to infinity. The higher those stacks get, the more the damage the Brawler does. So if that number starts getting too big and you start taking more damage than what your healer can kind of keep up with, then all you really want to do at that point in time is just kind of get out of his range, because the longer you set out of his range, those stacks start to drop off. So it's pretty much as simple as that. I'll go ahead and take the Brawler. If Aura, if you want to take Mr. Ripper, and Rankin take King Crush. And once you aggro them, just kind of, you know, Rankin, you'll be coming at them from the right-hand side, so just kind of pull them back to the right once you have aggro a little bit. But once you get him a little bit separated, just stay inside of his purple circle and kick his butt. I'll kind of try and stay toward the middle of the room so that Lana can reach everybody with healing. Also, from time to time, one of the pets may jump to the location of the other. If that happens, just, again, try to get them separated. Since each of you are only attacking one at a time, you should maintain aggro on yours pretty easily. Okay, this is the next one of the kind of really difficult fights, especially for solo. And in a group, it's not so bad. Nocturno is the guy with the little shield over his head, and Drake Raven is the little Pud Knocker in the white and the red on the right there. What we're going to do is we're going to gang up on Drake Raven and try to kill him as quickly as we can. Now, during the course of the fight, Drake Raven's going to be tossing little stun grenades out at us. And the grenade doesn't go off immediately. It's kind of on a timer. So what'll happen is when the stun grenade lands on you, it'll be like a yellow circle around your feet. And after a couple seconds, it'll turn red. And a couple seconds after that, it'll switch to an electrified field, which will stun you. When the circle turns red, it stops moving with you. So that gives you a chance to get out of it. Now, the trick to that particular circle is we can use those stun grenade circles against Nocturno. And that'll be especially important because Drake Raven, during the course of the fight until we kill him, is going to be bouncing all around the room. And by that, I mean probably like from one end to the other. We're going to be crisscrossing this room a couple times probably. Meantime, Nocturno is going to be trying to track us down. Nocturno himself or herself has two combat modes. One is a sort of a defensive mode, and during which time she moves really slowly. The other is an offensive mode where she moves a lot more quickly. During the defensive mode, staying away from her is pretty simple because she does move pretty slow. But when she goes into offensive mode, that's when you really want to try and use those stun grenade circles to slow her down, because what you can do is when you get that yellow circle, just kind of put it in a spot between where you are and where Nocturno is, and then when it turns red, just get back out of it and let Nocturno basically walk right across it. She won't try to avoid the thing. She'll just make a straight beeline for where we are. Once we kill Drake Raven, then the utility belt that has her stun grenades, his stun grenades, will drop to the ground, and one of us can pick them up. At which point in time, then we can start putting down stun grenades ourselves and really wreak havoc on Nocturno. It's especially useful to keep doing that because Nocturno does kick out pretty good damage. It probably won't matter so much because, again, we'll probably kill her pretty quickly once we really start ganging up on her, but it's still really useful. I want to say this is also the fight where periodically we'll get abductor droids will come out and will abduct one of us. I can't remember if it's this fight or the next one, but I'm pretty sure it's this one. If that happens, it's going to be a group of 4 droids that are going to come out and are going to basically kidnap one of us. If you're in here solo with your companion, it's always your companion. In our case, it'll be one of the 4 of us. When that happens, there's 4 droids involved in it. One is the abductor droid, and the other are like 3 little ad type droids. So pretty much the droid that is not like the others, kick its butt, because the others really don't do anything if you attack them before the abductor droid itself dies. When the abductor droid dies, the other 3 blow up and releases the person who's been trapped. So that's pretty much the way this fight goes, is as simple as that. That utility belt that has the stun grenades also has 3 other things you can do. It's 4 abilities. Number 1 is the stun grenade. I think number 2 allows you to jet around the room like Drake Raven is going to do for us. I can't remember off the top of my head what 3 does. 4 summons the abductor droids. So yes, it's absolutely this fight that has those. 4 summons the abductor droids. You don't want to do that because they will still kidnap one of us. It won't kidnap Nocturno.
Oh.
Yeah. So if whoever picks up that that belt, pretty much the only thing you need to use is the first power on them, just to put down the little stun grenades.
What if I want to jet around the room?
Then feel free, but just watch out for number 4 because that could get us in trouble. Ready?
Yep.
You lack discipline.
Hey.
so bored.
You'll die slow for that.
There you go. Ah, curses. Yeah, you don't want to run through it. You just want to drag them through it. Or kind of... Oops. That's another one of the ones that's really dicey solo. Next two aren't so bad, or at least next one isn't. Number 9 and number 10 are fun ones. Incidentally, Rankin, when you actually do get to the point where you're ready to do the Bodar recruitment, you also don't need to do this solo in order to get the achievement for Bodar. You can do it in a group. Okay, all right. Okay, Ronum-Minkus and Little Gut. We are going to completely and utterly ignore Ronum-Minkus. He doesn't do anything to us directly. The only thing he's going to do during the entire fight is throw crap down on the ground to make our fight a little bit trickier. But once we kill Little Gut, he just slinks off and disappears. So we don't need to worry about him at all. We're going to put our full focus on Little Gut, the Rancor. The two biggest things with him is he's got two attacks that we generally want to try to avoid. The first is kind of a, it's not really a cleave per se, but it kind of is. It's going to be a front-facing attack, if I remember correctly. I'll see it once we get started. But again, it's pretty easy to ignore, pretty easy to avoid, because you'll see a marker on the ground around your feet. And when you do, just get out of it. The second one is, I want to say he does like a jump attack where he gets there's a circle around your feet, and that circle moves with you. He's just going to end up jumping on top of you. So I think probably the trick is at that point in time is that if you happen to be standing someplace near where somebody else is, just kind of move away from them so that only one person takes the damage from the jump. But general rule of thumb, like with so many of these other things, is if there's something on the ground that it wasn't there to begin with, you probably don't want to stand in it. So just get out of it. And other than that, it's pretty much just beat up the Rancor. I'm trying to remember if there's any ads in this one, but I don't recall.
To be all full.
Yep, there's that red circle, that first one. It also puts a slow on you, so if you've got one of those leap out of the way type things. Ah, there we go. Apprentice Handler. There is an ad. We do have to kill them. The Apprentice Handler will put either an offensive or a healing buff on the Rancor, so the Apprentice Handlers we want to kill. Okay. There we go. Even Aura's getting achievements now. Round 9.
Ooh, this doesn't look good.
Ew. This one is actually probably the toughest of the 10 fights, really. Haha. Okay, Doom Droid is pretty aptly named. Doom Droid does a couple of different things which we are going to be very particular about trying to defeat, because the Doom Droid is the one fight in this entire Eternal Championship that will be an insta-kill. Well, it kind of has 2 attacks really that does that. One will kill all of us. The other one will just kill whoever's in it. The first of which is like a big mega beam. If you've ever been on the ops run to kill the Golden Llama, Tomorrow's Courtyard, it's kind of like that in a sense. It's going to put down a big red stripe out in front of it. Just get out of the red stripe, you'll be fine. You get hit by it though, it hurts a lot, and it can kill you in one shot if he crits on it. Secondary to that, he's going to have a couple of droid ads that are going to come out. One of which is kind of really meant to harass you. The other of which is an explodey droid. The explodey one's probably the easier one to deal with because it's going to pick somebody, come to you, pop down the red circle, and then a couple seconds later explode. If he comes to you, puts down the red circle, just get out, you'll be fine. The other droid, we just need to kill it because it's just going to put out DPS against us while we're trying to fight the Doom Droid. So pretty much when those 2 droids come out, it's the A. I can't remember the exact name of the droid, but one has an A and one has a B. The A is the one we want to kill. The B is the one that's going to explode. After that, the next big thing that'll come up is he's going to put like a recharging pylon. A recharging pylon is going to spawn in the middle of the room. And around that are going to be 4 like probe droids that are going to spawn. There's a 20-second counter that starts at that point in time. If we have not killed those 4 probe droids by that 20-second, then Doom Droid's going to put off an attack and it's going to wipe us. So that's the killer. Fortunately, those droids only have like 15k of health, so they go down really easy. But it does mean that when those show up, though, we need to jump on them quick, get them out of the way, and then go back to working on the Doom Droid. Beyond that, it's really not too difficult. All good?
I hope so.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and sneak around behind the Doom Droid and turn him that way so that his beam attack will go toward the wall. You guys can then hang out on that side. There's one. No, that's never mind. That's next fight. I'll come back to it later. Move, Lana. Rocket attacks, yeah. Again, pretty easy to avoid, just have to. There's those droids I was talking about. Okay, here come the 4 droids. Watch out. You got all of you guys with that beam.
He dead. He dead now. No, I'm in a ball.
All right, round 10. Round 10 is probably the most complicated fight as far as the number of things going on, but it's actually not as bad as it seems, and it'll be even less so in a group because we'll kill the guy pretty quick. And I'll explain the details here in just a second. Okay, Zotar is obviously a little guy inside that walker. So we're going to go beat on the walker until we get him down to about 50%, at which point in time Zotar will climb down and come after us himself. While we're beating on Zotar, the walker will be healing itself a little bit. Once the walker gets back up to 80%, and it takes, it's like 1% per second, so we get about 30 seconds to beat on Zotar. After that, assuming Zotar isn't dead, and he probably won't be, though we probably get him pretty close, Zotar will climb back up into the walker, and we start beating on the walker some more. Once the walker is back down, I think, to around 50% or even maybe a little below, then Zotar comes down again, and this is when we get to finally finish him off. Now, in the middle of all of that, there's going to be a lot of other things going on. Number one, we're going to have a group of 4 droids are going to spawn around the room. I want to say they're little astromechs, but I don't remember if that's what they look like. But it'll be pretty easy to see what they are. They're going to pop up in 4 corners of the room, and what they're going to do is they've got a laser beam attack that is going to try to hit us. And they're going to put down this long red line, you know, from them to whoever they're targeting, and they fire a few seconds later. Those red beams are going to be crisscrossing the room like crazy. Now, the fun thing is, it's easy enough to get out of them, easy enough to avoid them. If you see them on the ground, just kind of get out of the red. But on top of everything else, if it just so happens that that beam crosses one of the other droids, they'll kill themselves. If it so happens that beam crosses one of our Kolto stations, it'll kill those too. Not that we're going to need them, but if you're doing this solo, that's a tougher one to negotiate. People who really get used to doing this fight can actually use those droids against them. I don't know if those droids do damage to Zotar or not. I haven't really paid much attention to that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But in any event, pretty much if all you got to do is 1, stay out of the red. 2, if you want to take a second and kill those little droids off, feel free. They don't take much damage to kill. But otherwise, if you just kind of stay out of the red and keep doing damage to Zotar, we'll get through it pretty quick. When Zotar comes down, both the first time as well as the second time, there's going to be a lot of other effects going to be popping up in the room. Everything from a yellow circle around the outside of the room that is a lightning field that's basically a stun field, to a gas field that is that's slow, to fire areas. I mean, it's going to be crazy all over the place. and it's not a particular pattern. So pretty much the thing to do is just when it gets to that phase, just when stuff starts popping up on the floor, do your best to get out of it as much as you can. Since all of our Kolto stations are up, don't be afraid to use them. Lana should be mostly useful when it comes to healing, but even with 3 or 4 of us going on taking damage, she might get a little overwhelmed. So don't be afraid to hit the Kolto stations if you feel like you want to. But beyond that, just do damage to the Walker and do damage to Zotar when he comes down, and we'll get through this pretty quick. All good?
Yep.
All right, here we go. There's the droids with the beams. That's actually nice. I didn't know it did that. We did so much damage to Zotar quickly enough that he went back to his Walker before the Walker was done healing, so that makes it easier. Alright, at this point we want to try and stay in the middle of the room. Okay, this is not going the way it's supposed to. This is weird. Because Zotar's dead. There we go.